When Clint Eastwood took a seat in her section, she had no inkling that her life was on the brink of a dramatic transformation. Mia tightened her apron, casting a quick look at the clock hanging over the diner's counter. The clock approached 7 p.m., marking the moment when the dinner rush typically began to wane, allowing for a more leisurely pace to conclude her shift. For many, the quaint diner nestled away from the highway served merely as a brief respite, a spot to enjoy a meal before resuming their travels. For Mia, it was her beacon of hope. At 28, she juggled demanding hours at work while nurturing her 6-year-old son, Jordan. Every piece of advice and each paycheck contributed to maintaining their humble apartment and covering Jordan's expanding array of school supplies. She glided effortlessly from one table to another, her inviting smile a barrier against the fatigue gnawing at her. The familiar faces were aware of her tale or fragments of it. Some would quietly add an extra $1 or $2 when possible, yet Mia never sought out pity. She discovered at a young age that life was not just, and her only option was to persist and push ahead. The soft chime of the bell above the door drew Mia's gaze. She glanced upward, anticipating the arrival of yet another weary wanderer from the road. A man entered, exuding a quiet confidence that thickened the atmosphere in the room. He donned a plain button-up shirt and jeans, his rugged face partly obscured by a hat pulled down low. After a brief pause, she recognized him the moment he turned his gaze in her direction. Clint Eastwood. The Clint Eastwood. Her breath caught in her throat. She typically didn't indulge in admiration for celebrities. She lacked both the time and the energy for such pursuits. Yet this situation felt unique. Clint Eastwood stood as a legendary figure, a name her late father often mentioned during their shared moments watching classic westerns. For a fleeting instant, recollections of those times danced in her thoughts, yet she couldn't afford to linger. Clint nestled into a corner booth, and Mia recognized it was her moment to attend to him. Yet this was no ordinary patron. An intriguing aura surrounded his stillness, sending a thrill through her veins. Mia picked up her notepad and pen, inhaled deeply, and made her way to the booth. As she approached, she began to observe the intricate nuances. His hands, a bit worn yet unwavering, lay on the table. The sharp gaze hidden under the edge of his hat appeared to perceive all while revealing little in return. He glanced upward as she paused next to him, his demeanor serene, nearly inscrutable. "Good evening," she began, her voice more composed than she had anticipated. "How may I assist you today?" He cast a quick look at the menu before placing it down. "Just a cup of coffee and a medium rare burger, hold the onions." Clear and straightforward. Mia scribbled it down, yet she couldn't shake off the subtle quiver in her hand. Just as she was about to walk away, Clint's voice called out to her, halting her steps. "Hectic evening?" She glanced over her shoulder at him, taken aback. Most patrons rarely engaged in casual conversation unless they were familiar faces. "It wasn't too bad," she responded, a faint smile gracing her lips. "Keeps me alert and engaged." He nodded, a hint of warmth touching his expression. "Your rhythm is impressive. It's quite a challenge to stay on top of things in an environment like this." She blinked, caught in a moment of uncertainty, struggling to find the right words. Was he praising her? Clint Eastwood, a figure she had only encountered on the silver screen, was taking note of her dedication to her craft? She offered a courteous smile before stepping back to the counter to place his order, yet her thoughts swirled with inquiries. What brought him to this little diner tucked away from the bustling highway? He had the means to dine at the most exquisite restaurants in California. Yet here he sat, sipping water from a chipped glass, biding his time for a burger just like any other wanderer. As the order reached completion, Mia gracefully transported the plate and coffee to his table. She positioned them with care, receiving a fleeting look of gratitude from him. "Thank you," he remarked with understated sincerity. "You're welcome," she replied, attempting to keep her tone light. Yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that this moment, this seemingly mundane exchange, held a unique significance. As she attended to other tables, she observed that he seemed in no hurry to finish his meal. He lingered in thought, occasionally raising his cup to his lips, savoring the warmth of his coffee. But why did it seem like he had other intentions beyond just dining? There was an undeniable essence to his presence that haunted her thoughts, leaving her with an unsettling conviction that this night held an extraordinary significance. Mia busied herself with refilling coffee cups, clearing tables and taking new orders, yet she found her gaze drifting toward Clint's booth from time to time. He consumed his meal with deliberate slowness, each bite taken with a sense of purpose, as though time itself was an endless resource at his disposal. From time to time, their gazes would intertwine, and he would offer her a courteous nod, a wordless recognition that sent a delightful shiver through her. Once he completed his meal, Clint made a subtle gesture towards her, lifting his hand slightly. Mia wiped her hands on her apron and approached, maintaining a carefully composed expression. "Is everything okay?" she inquired, her tone unwavering. "Excellent," he remarked with a subtle grin. "That was truly one of the finest burgers I've enjoyed in quite some time." She let out a soft laugh, surprised by the unexpected compliment. "I'll make sure to pass that along to the cook. I'm sure he'll be glad to hear it." For a brief moment, Clint remained silent. He gazed at her, and in that fleeting moment of quiet, it seemed as though he was examining her, not with a critical eye, but with a curiosity that left her feeling vulnerable, yet strangely understood. He finally remarked on the positive vibe you exude. "You evoke memories of a person from my past." Mia blinked, caught in a moment of uncertainty, her mind racing for the right words. Could this be considered a compliment? Is it a recollection? She was uncertain. "Well, thank you," she replied, a flush creeping into her cheeks. "I simply navigate through the day much like anyone else does." He nodded, a spark of intrigue dancing in his eyes, leaving her with an unshakable sense of curiosity. "Ah, that's the clever part, isn't it? Simply navigating through." Before she had the chance to reply, he delved into his pocket and extracted a handful of bills. He set them down on the table, accompanied by a neatly folded piece of paper. "Keep the change," he said, rising to his feet. "And read this when you have a moment." Mia gazed at the note, her heart racing. "Thank you," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper, uncertain if he caught her words as he moved toward the door. The bell overhead chimed softly as he stepped out, and in an instant he had vanished. For a brief moment, she remained motionless by the booth, gazing at the note as though it could sear her skin. What might he have penned? What was it that made him so focused on her reading it? Yet, the inquiries must be postponed. Mia had tables to serve, and she was not one to abandon her responsibilities, despite her mind swirling with excitement. As Mia finished tidying up Clint's booth, the diner had settled into a hushed calm. The final patrons of the evening savored their coffee and engaged in quiet conversation, while the gentle murmur of the jukebox enveloped the space. With trembling fingers, she picked up the folded note, tucking it into her apron pocket as she completed the task of cleaning the table. She couldn't quite pinpoint the source of her unease. It was merely a note, wasn't it? As her shift came to an end, Mia quietly made her way to the back room to gather her belongings. Her curiosity ultimately prevailed, prompting her to retrieve the paper and unfold it with great care. Her gaze swept over the initial lines, and her breath caught in her throat. "Dear Mia, I may not know you well, but in the brief time I've been here, I've witnessed something truly exceptional. Genuine strength. Observing your graceful management of this place, even in challenging times, serves as a powerful reminder of the remarkable strength found in the everyday champions of our world. You evoke memories of a cherished individual, one who instilled in me the importance of diligence and compassion. Your story may be unknown to me, yet the weight of your burdens is evident in your eyes. I want to take action free from any obligations." Mia's hands trembled as she pressed on with her reading. "I'm leaving a little something for you to use as you wish, whether it's for your child, your future, or just a moment of relaxation. I trust it offers you a sense of tranquility. Individuals like you deserve recognition, and I acknowledge your presence." Inside the note, a check was neatly folded. Mia's heart raced at the sight of the figure, $10,000. She collapsed onto the bench in the back room, her knees giving way as tears flowed freely down her cheeks. It wasn't solely about the money, although that alone was transformative. The recognition, the sentiment, the profound impact of knowing that someone as iconic and esteemed as Clint Eastwood had paused to acknowledge her, to show that he cared. For someone who frequently sensed her presence fading into the background, the experience was daunting. Yet amidst the chaos of her thoughts, one question lingered persistently. What makes her the one? What was she to make of this unforeseen present? Mia lingered in the back room, time stretching endlessly as her thoughts danced with a whirlwind of emotions. The check in her hands seemed almost otherworldly, as if plucked from the realm of dreams. Her mind wandered to the pile of bills cluttering the kitchen counter, the worn sneakers that had been on her son Jordan's feet for what felt like ages, and the persistent drip of the leaky faucet in their cramped apartment, a repair she simply couldn't manage. This money could transform everything, yet more than the financial relief, Clint's words resonated deeply within her thoughts. You evoke memories of a cherished individual from my past. Who might that individual be? What could have possibly led Clint Eastwood, of all individuals, to recognize something in her? It wasn't merely the money or the note. It was the way he had gazed at her, with a certain respect and acknowledgement that she hadn't experienced in years. Mia brushed away her tears and inhaled deeply. Understanding the weight of her secret, she reached out to her best friend Tasha, her steadfast support through many trials. In just a few moments, Tasha found herself at the diner, seated opposite Mia in one of the vacant booths. Hold on, Tasha exclaimed, raising her hands as Mia passed her the note. Are you seriously saying that Clint Eastwood bequeathed this to you? Mia nodded, her eyes still swollen from tears. I'm not entirely sure why. I didn't engage in anything out of the ordinary. Tasha perused the note in silence, her eyes growing wider with every word she encountered. Upon reaching the check, she emitted a soft whistle. This is absolutely wild. Have you considered what this might signify for you and Jordan? I know, Mia said, her voice barely above a whisper. Yet it seems surreal. What could possibly make someone like him interested in someone like me? Tasha extended her hand across the table, clasping Mia's hands gently. It was because he laid eyes on you, Mia. He finally recognized what I have perceived from the very beginning. Your dedication is unmatched, and you refuse to let life's challenges defeat you. That kind of strength does not go unnoticed. Mia gazed at the check, her heart filled with a mix of appreciation and uncertainty. What if I am not worthy of it? What if this is an error of some sort? Tasha stated with conviction, It's not a mistake. You truly deserve it. The inquiry stands. How will you proceed with it? Yet that was the inquiry, was it not? And as much as Mia wanted to celebrate, she couldn't ignore the weight of this unexpected gift, or the responsibility that came with it. That evening, Mia lingered at her kitchen table well past the time Jordan had retired for the night. The note and check spread before her. The tiny apartment held a serene stillness, interrupted only by the sporadic groan of the aging pipes, while the soft glow above the table danced with a gentle flicker. Her mind raced in countless directions. This money could cover their overdue rent, replace the unreliable car she relied on, and provide Jordan with opportunities she had only dreamed of until now. Yet, despite the thrill of the possibilities, they filled her with a sense of fear. She grasped the note once more, absorbing Clint's words for the 10th time. I trust it offers you a sense of tranquility. Individuals like you deserve recognition, and I perceive you. Their resonance reached a depth she hadn't anticipated. How many years had she dedicated to keeping her head above water, toiling through double shifts, sacrificing meals so that Jordan could have enough? She had driven herself to the edge of fatigue so often that she had lost track. Amidst everything, she sensed a profound invisibility, as if the universe was indifferent to her struggles and whether she would succeed or fail. However, Clint Eastwood had noticed her. He had witnessed her fight, her unwavering spirit, her strength in adversity. And in that instant, she understood this was more than merely a financial matter. It was about having faith in her own value and the possibility of something greater. Mia thought about her father, who had always been her biggest cheerleader before he passed. He would often remind me, "Don't allow the world to drag you down. Kid, there's a spark within you." After a long absence, she sensed that spark reignite within her. She retrieved a notepad and started jotting down thoughts, possibilities for how to utilize the funds in a way that would foster enduring transformation. Perhaps this was the moment for her to enroll in an accounting class, a profession she had long aspired to but had never found the opportunity or means to chase. Perhaps she could establish a modest college fund for Jordan, providing him with an opportunity for a brighter future. Yet one idea resonated more strongly than the others: the act of giving back. Clint's gesture transformed her existence, and she felt compelled to consider how she might replicate that impact for another. Yet the doubt remained palpable. The path before her seemed daunting, yet for the first time in ages, Mia embraced a flicker of hope. Morning sunlight poured through the window as Mia lingered in the kitchen, savoring a cup of coffee while observing Jordan immersed in play with his action figures on the well-loved carpet. The check and note remained on the table, now arranged with precision. Following a night filled with restless thoughts, she arrived at her conclusion. Tasha was the first person she reached out to, and without hesitation, she agreed to look after Jordan for the afternoon. Mia conveyed her need for some time to sort things out, and Tasha refrained from asking any questions. She simply stated, "You handle what you need to. Girl, I've got your back." With Jordan comfortably nestled at Tasha's home, Mia made her way to the bank. The weight of the check in her purse was almost dreamlike, its reality hard to grasp. The bank teller, a young woman with an infectious smile, arched an eyebrow upon seeing the sum. "That's quite a deposit," the teller remarked, her tone courteous yet inquisitive. Mia nodded, a faint smile gracing her lips. "It's a gift." The teller refrained from probing any deeper, and Mia experienced a subtle sense of relief wash over her. As the check cleared, she experienced a peculiar blend of emotions: relief, excitement, and an overwhelming weight of responsibility. This money represented more than just a personal gain. It was an opportunity to reshape her narrative and provide Jordan with a brighter future. Once Mia exited the bank, she headed towards a nearby community college. For years, she had strolled by its campus, pondering the sensation of once more occupying a classroom, of absorbing knowledge, of evolving. She entered, her hands quivering as she made her way to the admissions desk. A woman with a warm smile welcomed her and inquired about how she might assist. Mia expressed her desire to enroll, her voice unwavering even as a nervous flutter danced in her chest. In accounting, the woman beamed with a welcoming smile, assuring you that you were in the right place, ready to embark on your journey. As Mia completed the paperwork, a profound sense of purpose washed over her, one she hadn't experienced in years. This had transcended her own journey. It became a testament to Jordan that pursuing dreams is always within reach, regardless of how unattainable they may appear. As Mia stepped out of the admissions office, a fresh idea suddenly came to her mind. What if this were merely the start? What if Clint's gesture was more than a mere gift, but rather the ignition of a much larger fire? As weeks flowed into months, the shifts in Mia's life became profoundly transformative. She juggled her shifts at the diner alongside evening classes at the community college, and though it was challenging, a fresh resolve radiated from her every step. Jordan observed as well, and he would enthusiastically share with his friends, "My mom's going to college." Mia felt a warm smile spread across her face each time the sound reached her ears. Yet it wasn't solely her own existence that Mia sought to transform. Moved by Clint's gesture, she started to allocate a portion of her funds to create a small reserve aimed at assisting others in her community. Mia quietly stepped in to help, whether it was a struggling single parent in need of groceries or a student who couldn't afford textbooks, embodying the spirit of giving that Clint's note had inspired in her. One evening, while Mia perused her accounting textbook at the kitchen table, Jordan gently pulled at her sleeve. "Mom," he inquired, his large brown eyes filled with curiosity. "Do you believe that the man will ever return to the diner?" Mia hesitated, the idea surprising her unexpectedly. Is there a chance Clint Eastwood might make a comeback? Unbeknownst to her, the influence he had on her existence was a mark she would bear for all time. Perhaps, she murmured gently, tousling Jordan's hair, yet regardless of his presence, he will forever be woven into our narrative. And that was the reality. Clint's gesture reminded Mia of the profound impact of kindness, of recognizing someone's true self, and offering support when the weight of the world felt overwhelming. It had rekindled her faith in her own abilities, in the endless opportunities life has to offer, and in the significance of giving back to others. As Mia shut her textbook and got ready for bed that night, a wave of tranquility washed over her, a feeling she hadn't experienced in years. Her journey was far from over, yet for the first time she wasn't merely existing, she was flourishing, progressing one step at a time. Thus, when a newcomer stepped into her area at the diner, Mia welcomed them with her characteristic warmth and elegance, aware that even the briefest exchanges could have a lasting impact on someone's life. Each gesture of goodwill, regardless of its size, holds the power to generate waves that extend far beyond our immediate perception. If this narrative resonated with you, please consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who might benefit from a bit of inspiration today.